Welcome back to It's All Light. I'm your host, Natalie Baugh. Sorry about last week. There were some complications, so I'm happy to be back and with the weekly Tuesday episode. Today's guest is Ryan Hall, all the way from Texas.
Howdy.
It's literally my favorite word. I wish I was from Texas. So Ryan and I have been friends for a little while now, and I'm so excited to have him on the podcast today because he's just a very authentic guy, and that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about authenticity, and I think this is just helpful for everyone to learn a little bit more about and why Ryan's passionate about this. But let's get to know Ryan first. So Ryan, what part of Texas are you from?
So I'm actually from a small town called Muleshoe. It's about an hour
Muleshoe.
away from Lubbock, Texas. So when I
Hmm.
normally meet people and they ask where I'm from, I normally just use Lubbock because not even everyone knows where that is. I just try to use Texas Tech. But yep, I'm from
Muleshoe.
Muleshoe, Texas, population 5,000. So
Nice.
yep.
Love that. Are you a cowboy?
A little bit. I feel like sometimes I would consider myself a little too city for the
Hmm.
for the country, and then a little too country for the city. So I don't know.
You
It's right in
might
between.
happy little medium.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself, kind of a little bit into your story of your life.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely mainly from Texas. Lived a few different places, New Mexico. My like 2 years in New Mexico, 2 years in Kansas. So like freshman, sophomore year of high school were in Texas and everything, but then went to Kansas, Pittsburgh, Kansas,
Mm,
junior and senior year. And
wow. All over the place.
yeah. So my dad was finishing his master's degree in printing management. So that's
Mm,
where he wanted to finish that up. So yeah,
cool.
so graduated from there from high school and then moved to Richmond, Utah right before I left on my mission to
Mm,
Mozambique,
Mozambique, cool. Speaking
speak
Portuguese.
Africa. Yep,
Cool,
speaking
cool.
Portuguese.
Nice. And what are
So
some things you're passionate about?
a lot of, hobbies that I'm passionate about. I've been involved in band, like in percussion, played basically all the sports that were offered. There, gravitated towards football, basketball, tennis, some track, but then towards, like as I graduated, it was like basketball and tennis were the two that I was focused on mostly.
Nice. Yeah, I actually heard Ryan play in a band. We had a big activity. He brought
Oh
his
yeah,
guitar, front row mic, literally just best voice, just rocked out. It
oh,
was
an angel.
awesome. So he's
Thank
a
you.
he's a rock star.
Yeah, I
A
appreciate it.
Texan rock star.
Yeah, it was a good time. I know, right? A punk
Oh
Texan.
yeah,
Who knew?
a punk Texan. Yeah. Yeah, Ryan I feel like does everything and does everything well and is just very well rounded. So,
Ah, too
and
sweet.
and what do you light up about? I hinted at it at the
I
beginning.
well, I light up about authenticity in a
Hmm.
lot of different ways. This I could go on in a lot of different directions on why I'm so passionate about it, but
Hmm.
after thinking about reasons why, I think there are several times in my life that have kind of shown me the advantages of being authentic, not only to yourself but also to those around you. That's really ultimately how you want to live your life. You want to be true to yourself. That doesn't mean don't work on yourself and whatnot, but just be true to yourself because that's when the real growth will actually occur. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, give us some more background on this. I'm curious
yeah,
how
and
this developed in your life.
right, and it was like I was gonna say like recently I've always been like I like people. I think part of it is just loving people in general, like for their own reasons, like for their own uniqueness, and not trying to make someone be a certain way, but realizing that everyone has their own stuff, man. Everyone has their own upbringings. Everyone has their own challenges, their own strengths,
Mm-hmm.
and just admiring that ultimately as brothers and sisters. As children of God, like we're all children of God, and so as we appreciate that and really um, grow to focus more on that side, then oh, what's different about this person from me that I really don't like?
Mm.
Their opinions, their values, and whatnot. But instead, just really seeing it as a man. I really want to genuinely get to know this person better. And when you do that, you're asking questions, like they're asking questions, and it's not some kind of like confrontation when you're not like
Yeah.
battling heads, but genuinely wanting to just get to know each other better and where someone's coming from. You'll gain more of a respect for them and appreciation for them because no one's like saying or like their own opinion um, without any reason. Like everyone has their reasons to come to what conclusions they've come to. I mean,
Hmm.
it's easy to say like the political differences that we have and whatever with each other. Oh, that person's
Yeah.
obviously an idiot.
Or the
That
meaning you put on something when someone's talking, right?
right, yeah,
Like we
exactly.
all have
And
our own perceptions. Like one thing can mean something else to someone else just from how you're raised. Even if you were raised on the same street, like you
yeah,
still have
no,
different perceptions from what your parents have taught you, from what you've learned at
right.
school,
And there's
culture.
some, yeah, yeah, exactly. Like there's so many different variables um that just make us our own unique persons. I mean, we're our own people, and so it's just like yeah, like
Mm.
exactly, like even your parents are likely different than you in plenty of different ways,
Yeah.
and just I guess not fighting that, but just like growing to learn more about each other, and
Yeah.
having that genuine curiosity. Yeah, definitely. I
So,
guess yeah,
oh, keep going. You guess what?
it just like magnetizes you. Like people see that they see your genuine desire to learn about them, and
Mhm.
that's very very attractive. That's very um I guess like dismantling or like of defenses. They don't feel as defensive because they're like, oh, this
Ooh.
person is a
Yeah.
is a genuine, yeah, and really wants to get to know me for genuine reasons and really
Yeah.
cares about me. So
It's like How to Win Friends and Influence People.
and if those
It
people, yeah,
Yeah, it talks about, I mean, I've only read the table of contents, but
that's it's
but
over
it talks
content,
about using people's names and like focusing on
right?
them. But would you define being authentic as just being yourself, being real? What else would you add to that definition of being authentic so people understand what we're talking about as we dive deeper?
Yeah, and also, man, I think part of the reason I was wanting to go into this also was just with today, social media and everything, we're
Mm,
all putting on a face. We're all putting on the person that we assume that others want to see,
ooh,
not
yeah, we
necessarily the
totally
people that
are.
we actually. And so it's
Even
dangerous to do that.
even on
Yeah.
Be Real, I'd retake until I get one I like.
Right. Yeah. It's just like it's just our
Even though
natural
I
tendency.
could just be real and it'd look more awful, but I
Share
don't
that
know.
blurry picture that you took, or that the one where you closing your eyes accidentally. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
But but yeah, so that aspect of just, I think, and the different successes that I've had, I attribute a lot of them to just being authentic, being real,
Mm.
um, because of like simultaneously with that, putting up that image, people gravitate and are attracted more to authenticity, like because they can see through that. Ultimately, I
Yeah.
mean, it's yeah, and so they really resonate more with yeah people that are being real. Like that comes across in a lot of different ways. um, as I was thinking about a few of those particular instances, if there were
Yeah.
experiences that I've had in my life, there was a few that came up. So as I was saying, so at like junior year, moved to Kansas. Obviously, didn't know anyone. Didn't. Um, it was completely new area, completely new state, and everything for me. So, but I don't know. I got in band, got involved, made friends quick. Just as, like that's I don't know. I like people, and I think just having a
You do
genuine.
make friends quick too, just from me knowing you and observing you with everyone we
Yeah,
know.
thank you.
Yeah. So you're in
I
high
appreciate.
school making friends. Sorry, back to your story.
Yeah, making friends. It's not like I'm like, oh yeah, I just best friends with everyone. Like not, yeah, no, I don't just like everyone just because I just feel like forced to. But I do feel, I don't know, I enjoy getting to know people. Um, and
Me too.
yeah, yeah, no, I've definitely noticed that about you too. So I mean, here we are, right? This
Here
is
we
the
are.
result of just being good friends and getting to know each other is being able to share this. But yeah, it was, and this I don't know how to make this not sound like gloating or prideful, but
It gives us some
my
examples though.
yeah, so just getting to know people, well and everything, and my senior year, so I'd been there for 1 year, was up for homecoming king, and I don't know. My niece says it's not as big of a deal anymore, but at the time it was a big deal to be in homecoming, at least out there. But so I was like up against like captain of the football team, basketball team, and stuff like that that had been there. Like their parents went to the high school and whatnot.
Oh, small town.
Um, yeah, right. Well, yeah, this is bigger but still small. So Pittsburgh, Kansas, like 30,000. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so like 1,000 people in high school. But compared to like two or 300 in Texas, so still small. But for me, it was bigger.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so just like going up against that and whatnot, and actually winning, and feeling like, oh man, this is awesome. People being super happy. Not gonna lie, I assume part of it's probably because I was like in the band as well as like an athlete, so that I don't know.
You
Everyone
had
had
all
fun.
the crowds,
I know, right?
all the different
Yeah,
crowds in high school. That's
true. And I
fun.
was in choir that year actually too. So
Wow. And I
yeah,
think that is being authentic. It's doing things kind of almost without other people caring, right? Or like kind
yeah.
of
Like I was gonna
breaking the mold and doing sports and music.
right. Yeah, exactly. It's like I was planning on doing that anyway. Like that's what I wanted to do, and so
Yeah,
it's
just doing what you want to do.
yeah, and just being authentic to yourself while simultaneously realizing like I don't know, just seeing value in other people. I
Yeah.
think not
So
just
people started to gravitate toward you because you were focusing on them.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like not like do what you want to do and like
That's like one
don't
side of
care
it.
about others basically,
Yeah.
but while simultaneously caring about them and yeah,
Hmm.
it's it's a bit of a balance for sure.
Which would you
It's
say
not
comes first?
I think to care about
Being
yourself, you have to care about
authentic.
what's up.
Wait, keep going.
I was gonna say, I think about like if you really want to care about yourself, you have to first care about others.
First care about
Um,
others, then care about yourself.
yeah, and like the best way to care about yourself is to care about others.
Ooh, I love that. I
It's
have talked about this a lot, because the commandments love God and love others, right?
yeah,
And I've had a lot of like mental health conversations about, oh yeah, love yourself, take care of yourself. And that's
yep,
important, but I think I think we're focusing maybe a little too much on that. I think if we focused more on just loving others, then that will
yeah,
be like a natural occurrence from that will be helping ourselves.
exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, definitely have to take care of yourself and make sure your mask is on. I
Right.
guess
You have
it's
to have a full cup to give, but you can
yeah,
also start giving and fill both cups.
right, exactly. Because if you're only worrying about yourself, like, okay, how am I doing? How is this? What? Like you get stuck in your own head and
Mhm.
kind of stagnate
Yeah. And
a
that,
lot
I
of
want to
ways.
share the quote you shared with me because it relates to this. It's by Stephen R. Covey. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. And it's
Yeah,
so true. I feel like anytime anyone's speaking, I should probably pay attention to this more as we talk and think about
yeah,
what you're saying versus what I want to reply next. I think we're
yeah.
just we're just always so
It's
conscious of, oh, what am I sounding like or what am I saying? And I mean, I don't really think twice about that, but
no, but
most people do.
it's definitely yeah, a tendency to just like to win conversations. When
Mm.
you're already worried about winning a conversation, you've already lost.
Ooh.
So
Tell me more about
it's
that and this quote and why you
yeah, so
chose it.
so that actually started coming a bit later into my mission and starting to get into like my career and whatnot. So the mission of different people wanting to essentially Bible bash, just wanting to tell you you're wrong, you're whatever, you don't believe what's right, and that's where I come from. Like the best way to disarm them is really to genuinely listen to them, and I think they just get so almost desensitized from these confrontations. What they expect to come out of the confrontation, they expect you to yell back. Like that's what
They want
your
to do.
initial like. Yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to. I'm about to blast this guy with some verses, with some I don't know, with some celestial vengeance. I don't just let him have it.
Hmm.
But that's really not the way, because I had a companion that would do that, and it left both parties leaving just angry, and there was no real progress. It was obvious that neither side really wanted to actually hear the other side out.
Yeah.
But I actually was fortunate. So So I told him, my companion, this situation. I was like, I'd really like to be more involved. Like, I'm not saying I want to argue, but I'd like to talk more because he would overpower even me. And
Mm,
I'm just like, all right, we need to, instead of just, I'm not saying just like, all right, let's stop, let's leave. Like, I'd like to talk to these people, but I'd like to also hear what they have to say.
yeah.
And so it was the same neighborhood, same like two guys, and they they knew what to expect. And they came out guns blazing, and I didn't use a Bible verse. I didn't, because I knew that that just really starts into, an argument that starts into, oh, what this says, this, and when you're just using the Bible, there's different ways that you can just ultimately reach confusion and
Hmm.
disagreement. And so I instead try to I gave him a minute. I They yelled for a while. They did yell for a while, but they started, like, as I was like, "Oh, okay, so what do you think um about Christ being baptized?" Like, as they were talking about the Godhead and stuff, how they're all the same, um
Mm,
and then was asking questions about, when Christ was baptized, there was a dove, and then there was a voice, and so that seems like separate people.
mm.
But anyway, so just like stuff like that, like not saying, "Hey, let's open the scriptures and go into this," but
Asking
talking about the scriptures,
questions.
but not, yeah, exactly. Like, let's like just trying to make them genuinely think for themselves and not
Rattle.
just word vomit things that they had heard
Mm,
before, that they had just prepared. I was like, okay, wait, like, stop, like this, like, yeah, just, this isn't a conversation that needs to be won by either
mm.
side. Like, let's just
Interesting.
learn more about it. Like, I want to learn more about why you think what you, and so that's really what the disarming factor
Being
was
authentically interested in having a
yeah,
conversation, learning about
and
both sides,
exactly, yeah, when
being open
you learn,
minded.
uh-huh, because no one like, no one thinks that they're like, "Oh, man, I'm just gonna say this even though it's idiotic, ignorant, and whatever." Like, no, this is, they've come to that reasons, like, to that conclusion or that opinion for some
Hmm.
reason.
Yeah.
It could be flawed, it could be right. Like, there's likely some decent reason why they think that. But anyway, so it was good because then afterwards we were able to have genuine conversations,
Mm.
and then actually have one of them came up to us afterwards, and actually was interested in like, he's actually having like the conversation, like having the
What?
mission, having us speak to and teach him about the gospel. I
Wow.
was like, that's
Really?
all.
That's all you
Yeah,
want.
like
That's
he
all.
wanted
I
to
mean,
take lessons.
all you do is invite and learn with each
Yeah.
other. And I love that you said asking questions to help them kind of understand on their own. And I feel like that's the best way to learn or help someone learn is by asking
Hmm.
them questions that as they answer, they teach themselves.
Yeah, they teach themselves, they figure out their reasoning. Okay, why did I come
Yeah.
to that conclusion and
Yeah.
whatnot? So
Well, and like you said, a lot of people have these just routine thoughts, how they've been taught, their cultures, just embedded in their brains. I'm sure I've been
mhm,
that way too with the good old Utah bubble. And
yeah,
like some things are just ingrained in my head. So when either an argument or something happens, I just spew them off. But when you kind of pause for a second and get curious about why you think the way you think and also what other people mean, like my favorite question that I try to implement in my life is, "Oh, what do you mean by that?" Like to my sister, like sometimes we have
yeah, not
disagreements, but I always just try to ask where she's coming from because the more I understand what she's meaning by what she's doing, and most of the time she's just being protective and loving and I'm taking it as you're judging me, but like it's
yeah,
just because she cares, right? Or anytime my mom criticizes me, I said this on another episode though. She like texted me and she's like, "It's because I love you." Like just getting more curious about why they do the things they do.
right, yeah,
It's really
and
interesting.
yeah, I think once we start gaining more, yeah, we start seeing that vision, or like just the ideas that go to the other people, and when, oh, that's interesting how you came to that conclusion with this information, and
Mm,
then appreciating that more, of like I was talking about, like the individuality of each person,
yeah,
we're not like, oh, that's pretty, like, I genuinely want to figure out, like, why have you come to that conclusion, and then, hopefully you'll then allow me to, show you or tell you why I've come to my
right.
conclusion.
And that's how we learn and and kind of figure out who we are too, because our soul, I think, resonates with different things people say to us, right? And some things can
Yeah.
not verberate, struck a string a
Resonate.
chord, resonate, yeah, strike a chord in in our souls that kind of is like, oh yeah, I agree with that and I believe that. But like sometimes at the end of the day, you can agree to disagree, and that's okay.
Right.
And I think people need to understand that that is being altruistic, that is being authentic, and that's okay as long as it, like, to avoid that argumentation and anger maybe is just stepping
Yeah.
back and really understanding the why behind it for them.
No, definitely. And when you've had those conversations and shown that like sincerity, then disagreements are so much easier to deal with as well. Like,
Mm,
no,
mhm.
you know what? You've been real with me. I've been real with you. Like, it's not that we have to think the same way. It's that I can more appreciate where you're coming from, and vice versa. So it's just leads to healthier relationships. And with today's day and age, there's a lot of toxicity,
Oh,
um, politically,
do we know?
religiously. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I think the more we can have genuine conversations and be real with each other, the more healthy we'll be as a as mankind.
So, for people listening, let's kind of dive into what it looks like to be authentic and how you implement that in your life. That's probably in with your career right now, I'm assuming, where you're at in life right now. You kind of talked about it
Yeah,
in high school, but how has it been applicable to you in your life right now?
yeah. So I actually run the finance department of a roofing company that I partially own. I'm the CFO, but and I've been doing that for about a year. But before that, so it's a 3-year-old company. The beginning, I got on in sales
Hmm.
and had a decent amount of success in sales. So much so that my brother-in-law, who owned the company fully at the time, um, I was doing real estate full time, just selling agent, and would come once a week. And he's like, because we had gone on initially the first time, he's like, hey, I just wanted to, you want to come out for a weekend, like on a Saturday, come do some sales with me, and he explained the process. It was just dealing with insurance companies if
Mm-hmm.
they have shingles blown off their roof, and it was pretty simple. He gave me about a 10-15 minute spiel on the way to the area, and
Wow.
so it wasn't like I had 2 weeks of training or anything like that, but I had just a general idea what the process was like. But I that's what resonated with me was that aspect of sales, because I before had almost done like pest control and whatnot, but didn't really see the value in it as much as I would have liked. So it
Mm-hmm.
really was hard for me
No
because, like I
offense
said,
to cell
like
bros listening. No,
yeah,
no
like
offense.
yeah, no, it's but that's the thing is I respect it. I still do see value in it. It's just tough for
Yeah.
me, especially was at the time because I was like, maybe I don't completely understand this or something, but I don't.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't
Interesting.
feel like I can be genuine. Like that's how I have to be. Like it's
To
tough for
be
me to.
authentic, you
Yeah,
gotta believe in what you do, huh?
exactly. Like whatever you're selling, you have to believe in it. Like to the point, like I would buy it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
if I don't feel like I
Yeah.
can buy it myself, then it's really hard for me to feel like I can sell it.
Yeah. The company I work for, they gave me a box of every product so I can try it all so that like
Yeah.
I can tell what I like and what I don't like. And we're honest with people. Like I don't like the pre-workout. I've only tried it once, but like most people don't
Mhm.
like the pre-workout or the boost, the one that has caffeine, and people are honest about it. That they love the products they love, and we work on what we can
Right,
to
yeah,
be
and I
authentic and real.
yeah, exactly, and I definitely appreciate I think that's like a healthy aspect of companies nowadays, like, word gets out. If you got a bad product, they can find out about that, all across the nation. If you had bad employees that are doing bad stuff, you can get bad reviews, and that can
Mm-hmm.
when
Yeah.
20 years ago, that would've just died off, and, like, word of mouth, would've gotten some, but
Brand
not as much as
authenticity is
yeah,
huge in marketing.
and
Yeah.
so, like, with that company, I mean, good for them of being vulnerable and like, "Hey, we want your sincere opinion on this. Is this good or bad? Oh, this is good. This isn't whatever." And okay, cool. We'll make adjustments.
Yeah, and make adjustments. So going back to being altruistic and authentic yourself, what helps you every day? Remember to be you.
Yeah. I I don't know if everyone has a relationship like this with God, but I I don't know. I like
Mm.
being funny, and I laugh at stuff to myself a
You
lot.
do, and it's
And
awesome.
and it's just
You
like,
have a
man,
little giggle too, it's so fun. Ryan
like
really is just so fun to be around.
you're too sweet. Thank you. Now I appreciate it. You as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when it's just me by myself, I know that I'm not really by myself. Like I know that I'm like God's with me, Heavenly Father's watching, and I assume like my ancestors. I don't know if they're like maybe ancestors and like my kids that are gonna come later,
I just think of
and so
Mulan when you said
yeah.
ancestors, like, just sitting around.
Oh man, and just like watching, and so I don't know. I like giving them something to laugh at. I don't know. It sounds weird. It's just like maybe it's like be the main character in your story in your life. You
Hmm,
know, maybe it's some kind of aspect of that. But I
and that helps you be authentic.
it does like it's like well,
I love that.
people might think I'm stupid that I'm with here, but like these people like upstairs, they know me better, and like
Wait,
or they know the situation better. Like
and they know you better than you know you, right?
true,
I had a f
probably.
I had a friend once, she reminded me, she's like, "When you pray and talk to God, ask him to teach something about yourself. Like, teach me about
Mm,
me, like, help me learn something about myself that I don't know yet."
yeah,
And discover either new passions or things you love. Like I was mentioning earlier, just your soul resonates with things. Like that's just we're made up of intelligences. That's what I believe.
oh no,
and
definitely.
and there's so many pieces of that that can relate to different things and can help you bond with others, but as
Mhm.
but like we were talking about earlier, but help us understand things that we might not understand or understand people that we might not resonate with at first and just getting
Yeah,
curious. I feel like this is an ongoing topic that I've hit almost weekly is just getting curious about other people and then
really.
how that reflects to you. I have a coworker and everyone loves her. And sometimes with people like that, you're like, gosh dang it, I love them too, but how why don't people love me? And that's
Right,
so bad that our natural man just thinks about ourselves. And I really don't want to be that way. But I find myself caught up in that too much. But I just see her and I'm like, oh dang, she's like this amazing CrossFit built person and eats healthy and is so nice to everyone. Everyone loves her. And I'm like, how do I like instead of hating her for it, I do love her. And I just think of a story I learned in like high school. It's like when there's someone like that, instead of hating on them, ask them, teach me to be like you. And that's just been my outlook with anybody that I could feel intimidated by or hate because they're so good at things. I just have to remind myself, wait, no, they could help me be like them because they do that and they do it well. So I've been starting to notice things she does that I could do more of and
right.
become more like her.
No,
And
definitely. Well,
I
and
need
that's I
yeah.
mean, just to not go too far into the I want to be her. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right, because that
you
takes away being authentic.
yeah.
That's true. I
Like
guess I should remind myself of what I have as I like and just not compare.
right. I mean, you can like aspects of someone and want to like apply that to yourself. Oh, maybe I could be more kind, more whatever. All those good
Mhm, yeah.
stuff. Like that's awesome, but never go to the point where it's, I want to be that person. I would rather be
Mm.
her than myself
Oh, yeah, no.
because ultimately, yeah,
Luckily with my 26 years of life, I've gotten over the wanting to be someone else I'm not. I
good.
like being who I am, and I know I'm very imperfect. So it is nice to notice those things. I wanted to get rid of the ego side of it though, like
Yeah,
because part of me is like, oh, everyone loves her. How can everyone love me? And I'm like, wait, I shouldn't even be going there. Like, my thought should just be loving others, and then the byproduct will be, I don't know, people loving me. But I feel like just getting rid of caring what others think kind of helps in the first place.
yeah, definitely. And it's like it's not to ignore or act like you don't have any flaws. It's not like,
Ooh, right.
oh, I'm a perfect person, like to put that face on. No, it's like I am a flawed person. Like I'm fallible, but I'm like working on myself. I still love myself, and I'd
Mm,
rather be me than anyone else. Like it's and that's I think what comes across with authenticity a lot. It's not that you're putting on this perfect face,
mm-hmm.
because people. they don't really like they can't relate to that, or they feel like
That's true. That's true.
yeah, and so it's very dangerous to get to that point of like, listen, I am a perfect person, and you should all want to be me because
Or even just being comfortable. I feel like you can be comfortable with who you are, but at the
yeah,
same time, it's kind of a dangerous place to be because you can't grow when you're comfortable, right?
exactly. It's being
Mm.
blissfully dissatisfied. Like,
Blissfully dissatisfied. Oh, I like
hmm
that. Hmm.
yeah,
What
um,
helps what helps you in this? I don't even know how to form this question, but what helps you kind of accept yourself, I guess, and your weaknesses?
yeah. I think some of it is like laughing. Yeah, that's part of the like
Laughing.
the humor stuff is laughing to myself. Like I'll do something stupid or whatever, and just kind of just try to laugh it off. I know that's easier said than done, but not over like that because that's a tendency I have is over analyzing things. Oh man, how could I have
Mm.
done better? Because obviously, like especially if I consider myself fairly witty, after there's a conversation, I'm like, oh, I could have said that. Oh, that would have landed so good, but not. But then it'll get to the point where it's just like, I shouldn't even try because I'll say something and then realize afterwards, oh, that would have been better if I would have said this or whatever. But it's like,
Oh,
no,
whoa, you do overanalyze. I don't think I do that often. I'm like, oh, I'm working on being more witty, and then maybe I'll be more like that. But
no, it's I
that's
mean, and it
interesting.
applies to plenty of different types of stuff. But yeah, just
So
like
just laughing kind of at yourself and not taking
kind of laughing
yourself
at
too
yourself.
seriously.
Yeah, exactly. Don't take yourself too seriously
Mm.
because then that will allow you to put yourself out there again. Okay, maybe I could have improved, but it's good that I tried. Like it's
Mm.
good that like 'cause sometimes like in church I'll be like, "Ah, I'm a witty guy, I'm funny, whatever. People listen when I have something to say, but then I'll say something and it my thoughts won't be as organized as I'd like. And so I'm like,
Mm.
I'll mess it up and like, okay, dang it, I gotta back out. But now I'm like, all right,
Oh.
no, at least say a comment here and there, like at least one comment per class and stuff like that. That I'm just like, okay, we're gonna work on that because I'm normally like bam, 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 like one like a witty thing, real quick. Instead, ask me to talk for 15 minutes with no one like giving me anything to work with, then I'm like, crap, I don't know, I don't know what I'm blanking. Um,
See,
but
I think I'm more opposite. I feel like I could
yeah,
just go on and on and on. I mean, hence this podcast. But
and it's amazing. It's recognizing your talents and where you want to improve, like if that's where you're
recognizing
at,
it.
because you are amazing at that. I am envious of that. Like I wish I could be better at stuff, and but at the same
Well, I
time,
think
like
you're way
I
better
am.
than you think.
I appreciate that, and I am working at improving, and so it's not
Hmm.
something that's like I'm good or bad, but just getting better,
And
just little by little.
that authenticity shines through when you're working on yourself and when you're being real about what you're working on. I feel like some people, maybe myself included, can be too real, but also it's that vulnerability, that openness does help you connect with others. And I like what you said about focusing on others kind of helps you be real as you understand them.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
in the uplifting takeaways in the form I had you fill out, you kind of mentioned how people are more similar to us than we think. And when
Yeah,
we listen to them, we can better understand them and we can create experiences to, I don't know how to word this, but to build authenticity kind of on both
yeah,
ends. Yeah. What are your thoughts
yeah.
on that?
No, I definitely agree with that. I had close friend. Well, the particular topic at the time was we were talking about politics, and it was
Mm.
talking about abortion,
Mm.
and um, I've always just had a pretty straightforward. No, yeah, pro life, like to protect life and whatnot. And how could you think anything otherwise without being a terrible person? Like you must be a terrible person if
Yeah.
you're gonna kill a child. But instead of like, all right, Ryan, chill out a little, like they could see me as an ignorant person that doesn't care about the life of the child or the mother or the family like involved,
Mm.
whatever. And so
Circumstances.
yeah, circumstances. This could be terrible. Obviously, like the health aspects as well, the risks, but it
Mm.
was more like the circumstances. Someone that really can't afford it, not just financially, but like emotionally and stuff like that. I'm like, quick fix, adoption, easy. But instead, instead of like just going into, like I said, like trying to win conversations, like trying to win that
Mhm.
conversation, genuinely trying to hear her out. And um, I think as I did that, then I did grow a greater appreciation from, I mean, where she was coming from. Because I felt as a man, my voice doesn't really matter on this topic because you automatically win because you're a woman. Um,
Mm.
but instead, I think just giving my, and it's good because with like political stuff, with religious stuff, it makes you think, okay, why do I think the way that I do? Like
Mhm.
for yourself, like what? Because
Mhm.
if you don't have your beliefs challenged at all, if you only stay with people that are just right here with you all at all times,
Always
you're really
agreeing
not
with
going to
you.
grow. Yeah, that are just always agreeing with you. You'll get the
Mhm.
like confirmation bias that, yep, I'm definitely right. Every like my opinion is perfect. This is unflawed. But instead, if it's not challenged at all, then it's dangerous because you're not really growing as to even when it is like the right opinion. I would say that that's the opinion that you want. Figure
Mhm.
out why. Why did you come to that conclusion? Was it your parents? Was it your friends? Was it just like the state you were in? I mean, I've lived in a few different states, and I can
Right.
definitely tell that there are some differences of opinion in some of them. And so it's just
That's so
figuring out your
interesting.
yeah, why do you believe the way you do
'Cause
is crucial.
that makes you authentic and your
Definitely.
background. And it's not wrong to believe the way you do or how you do, but the more you understand it, the better you are to express yourself or better
Yeah,
understand others. Mm,
definitely.
I
And
love
it
that.
ultimately, like, I mean, it comes to the gospel. I mean, I feel like there are too many people that unfortunately lose their testimony, or their testimony was unfortunately like attached to someone else, or like that
Mhm.
really wasn't their own, or like they just, taking what they were told in primary and just kind of just recited it over and over. Just that's kind of muscle memory, get it through. This is just what you do. This is what, instead of genuinely having their beliefs tested, not only by others, but by themselves. Like,
I believe what I
why do I
believe.
believe this? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
am I believing this just to post, hey, at the temple again, having a great time. I love it so much. And then ultimately being like, I don't really see the value in it though, but I
Mm,
just want people to think that I really care about this. That is definitely dangerous. And that's why people can just be like internally so torn because they weren't developing their testimony for themselves. It was more for other people to see that they had
facade. Oh,
it.
yeah.
Just to
Hmm.
fulfill expectations or,
Yeah.
yeah, some aspect of that. And
I'm gonna
so,
have to start questioning why I post what I do on my stories or something. Me and my sister have had a few conversations about this. Like some things you don't need to share with everybody. Like just have that be a memory for you, and
yeah.
finding the value in that. Kind of like the Walter Mitty part, where he doesn't take the picture of the leopard, like
Oh, right. Yeah.
that
And
he
it's
was just being true to the situation in a sense.
right. Definitely. And it's a balance. It takes time. Like you don't want to be overbearing, like oversharing and whatnot, but also just finding when it's time to open up to someone or pull back. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah. But
it's
like
something that we'll always be learning.
but yeah, but be you. Like don't be afraid to do what you want to do. I mean, that's kind of my default with my sister sometimes or with other people is just like when they give feedback and I'm like, "No, like that's not me. I want to do me." But like I don't know, it's sometimes a little argument too of like that's just who I am or no, like that's me and I don't care about this when they care about it. But on my end instead of getting defensive, right? I put up that
Hmm.
barrier. If I were to just step aside and be like, "Why do they care about that?" Oh, maybe I should care a little bit more about if my car's washed, when I go hang out with my friends. My mom was
Yeah.
razzing me about my dirty car. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should get a quick quack membership and just pay a little more extra attention to a clean car. And that would benefit myself as well as others. So, I mean, that's just a little example, but I don't know. I love that. I think one of my takeaways for today as we kind of wind down this episode is like you light up about authenticity, yet being authentic is understanding others. I like how that was kind of a
Yeah.
direct connection. It's been really interesting to think about that. What would you say is a takeaway from our conversation today?
Yeah. No, it's yeah, it's a good takeaway. I appreciate just being able to say these words like out loud. It helps you organize your own thoughts, and so I appreciate you having me on.
It's so
Um,
fun. I love it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love
it's been a
hearing
good time.
people's thoughts too.
But yeah, one of the takeaways of just that's really how we ultimately can connect on the highest level is just being authentic to each other, um,
Mhm.
allowing us to like resonate with one another, and then ultimately, yeah, we'll find out we're more similar than we realize. Like we really do care, um,
Mhm.
despite wherever
Yeah.
we're coming from and whatnot. But when we show that genuine vulnerability, like that authenticity, sincerity in those conversations, that will ultimately come to love each other more.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. And that's ultimately what we all want to do. We just all want to love each other more and understand each other, because not only does that better the quality of your life, but it can help other people live a better life.
Exactly. As we love each other more, then we, yeah, ultimately love ourselves
Mm,
that much more.
I love that. Well, everybody, thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for next week. And thank you so much, Ryan. This was so much fun. And people, if you get the opportunity to get to know Ryan, like, please take that opportunity. He will bless your life. He's just such a great, great person. So thank you. And thank
Ah,
you for being authentic. You live what you're passionate about. So I love that.
thank you.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you so much for having me on, Ellie. Thank you guys for
Everybody.
listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Everybody. I'm forgetting my tagline. Oh no. Something about passion. Spread the passion. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.